Hello, everybody. It is I, GA. And today we were all cozied in. I got myself some junk food because we got a long one today. Because, firstly, the champion we're doing today has a lot, and we've got to introduce a new region. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. But it should be worth it. And then, if there's time at the end, which I don't know if there will be, but if there is, maybe I can convince Astro to hop on a TFT game with me. As the current TFT set is lore themed. And we're starting a new region, and and the cats have escaped. They'll be back, don't worry, guys. Hey, Phantom. Oh my goodness. I realise now that about half of my chat enjoy when I'm eating on stream, and the other half think hearing me eat is the most disgusting thing ever. So I guess I'm going to find out who's in what camp today. Hopefully my chomping's not too loud, because I'm starving. And I have one of my favourite fast food things ever, which is fries with gravy. Now, I'm not a fan of a proper chip soaked in gravy, but a French fry dipped in a gravy, that for some reason I am a fan of. Make it make sense. I cannot. It does combine two of my favorite things, potatoes and gravy. Also, two things that a few years ago I wouldn't have eaten. So, fries and gravy, never. It's a long road to recovery and health, guys, but we all do make it somehow. It's hard to imagine a time when I deprived myself of gravy. But there was, guys, there was. Okay. We should probably get on with some like lore stuff. It's going to be awful for the videos. So, it's just me like munching away on the recap. It's like, it will add to the cozy vibes. We're just chilling. We're just chilling out together. Hopefully you guys are eating too, because then it'll make me feel less bad. You're all eating too, right? Right? If I'm not eating alone, then it's okay. Then it's okay. Okay, let's switch screens. Let's do that. Oh no, I can't. Game. Okay. Dun dun dun. Here we are in Runeterra. We're back, guys. And I'm going to be honest, we picked a pretty boring region to start with. I'm sorry, but we did. But it's because we wanted to get some key world building lore out of the way. And now that's out of the way, we can move on to one of the more interesting regions. Not my favorite region. It's definitely not my aesthetic, my vibe. But objectively, a pretty interesting region that ties into pretty much all the other regions. So, can anyone guess? It's in the title. We're going to have a look at our map. So we've already looked at Targon. We're going to come back to Shurima at some point. I did debate geographically traveling, but that doesn't necessarily make the most sense, so we're not going to. Shadow Isles we're going to have to save for a very special occasion, because I'm definitely going to have to crack out my friend Caius for that one. It is pretty much required. I'm just going to give you a bit of a rundown. This is a no League lore spoilers rundown of them. So I'm going to do it without actually spoilering the lore of those regions, okay? Targon, that's your zealots, okay? These guys, religious whack jobs, okay? Partisan religious whack jobs at that. Shurima, this is your ancients. This is your ancient god type specimens. Ixtal, how should I say? Just jungle folk, I guess. This is your native stereotypes. There we go. There we go. Because fantasy loves native stereotypes. Bilgewater is your pirates, because is it a fantasy world without pirates? Shadow Isles. Now, in classical fantasy, I would argue that this is your necromancy area, but in League, I would argue this is the edgelord stronghold. This is where the edgelord reside. We'll learn about that. Piltover and Zorn is your classic, the rich and poor divide, slum city, the wealth built on the shoulders of the poor type dynamic. We're all pretty familiar with this due to Arcane, I would imagine. And there's probably always been a discussion of it changing because of Arcane. Okay, then we get to the meat of them. The meat of Runeterra. We have Ionia. How am I going to describe Ionia? Astro, help me out. Give me like a 2-word description for Ionia that doesn't give away too much. Man's on it.
Magical island.
Okay.
Not a lot.
Let's just say magic folk, right? This is magic.
Yes, magic folk.
Okay. Now, Demacia, they are your racists. Not your run-of-the-mill racists. They are like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say genocidal racist is a fair yes, Astro?
Pretty close, yeah.
Yeah.
They will know why.
Do I want to give away which community they particularly hate? No, I think I want to leave that, right?
Yeah, leave that as a mystery.
Then Noxus here. Okay, so Noxus are conveniently located. And they are, you're just standard. They're not racist. They hate everyone. They just think they're better than everyone, man. And it's very much, even within their own community, they don't even like each other. The Noxians don't even like each other. They're all trying to one-up each other. That's your classic brutal regime, military regime. So you've got 2 military regimes here, but these are your like outward-facing genocidal, we think we're better than everyone else maniacs. You know, the ones who think they have the moral imperative. That's what Demacia is. Noxus don't think they have the moral imperative. They just think they're bigger, better, stronger, faster than everyone else, and so therefore can bash everyone over the head and take it. Right? Very different approaches. Bear in mind, guys, that these 2 are right here next to these Ionians, okay? That's going to be real relevant. We already know that there's a relevant link here because of Arcane. And then last but not least is the Freljord. And we know a bit about the Freljord because we played Song of Nunu. Remember, that was a good game. We liked Song of Nunu. This is your Viking stereotypes. This is your Norse stereotypes for your fantasy. But we've already come across them as well in Rise's lore story. And they connect to everyone or no one, I guess would be a way to put it. They have links, but they aren't as connected as, for example, these 3 here. Very connected. These 3 here are super connected. Beep, 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 beep. All right, that's my overview that I feel like we didn't do when we first did Targon. And I feel like it's been lacking, just going about where we're going to go. So that's where we're going to go. But today, we're going to start, because we finished Targon. Bye-bye, Targon. We're going to go to Demacia. Then go in. Okay, so this is our map of Demacia. I'm going to learn a bit more about it now. A proud, lawful kingdom. Now, I want to emphasize at this point that if you know your D&D classifications, lawful does not equal good. Okay? You can be lawful and evil. You can be lawful and neutral. You can be lawful and good. Remember that lawful does not equal good. With a prestigious military history. Here we go. This is very relevant. Founders as a refuge from magic after the Rune Wars. So remember with Rise, we learned about the Rune Wars? And you're probably thinking about it. You know, with superhero movies, we talk a lot about how realistically in the real world, people would freaking hate the superheroes because they come in and they like destroy whole cities and expect to be applauded for it. Right? Well, sorry, just watch my cat be weird. Imagine how it felt seeing the rune wars unenvelop. There's going to have been some people displaced by the rune wars for a start. There's also going to be people who kind of haven't seen a good side to magic, right? So you've got like the friendly audience, right? And they've actually seen some good sides of magic. But the people of these main areas, they've seen pretty much just magic destroying and ripping through their communities. So it's sort of, you can see where it would come from, that people would seek out being away from magic. Some might suggest that the golden age of Demacia has passed, unless it proves able to adapt to a changing world. Self-sufficient and agrarian, its society is inherently defensive and insular, valuing justice, honor, and duty above all. I'm sorry, but it sounded hella like Japan right now. No, guys? But yeah, so what we're kind of thinking with Demacia is this is people who already have, inherently, they are essentially they were born from refugees of magic. They're going to be carrying some generational trauma. It's going to have led to some stuff, right? Wait, hang on, let me just check this is in. Okay, you know what, let's just go through it here. Okay. So they're a feudal monarchy. It's never a great sign anyway, to be honest. They have a medium level of technology, okay? So this is meaning we're going to expect to see more than Targon, but less than you would have seen in Arcane, okay? You're going to see somewhere in between. This is going to be more like your steampunk era fantasy rather than your medieval fantasy. Most likely, it's not that simple, but just to give you a vibe for Demacia. Attitudes towards magic, deny. Oh boy, do they. And the general environment, you can see it's fertile countryside. So we don't have the same hostile land to us as we had in Targon. We're in a much more... oh, no, go back. Oh, go away. Go away. Back to Demacia, thank you. Okay, we do have some places to look at here, though. Oh my gosh. Try to work out which things are going to come as hang on, let me. Okay. Let's go. Oh, I meant to do that. I meant to do that, guys. I'm not very good at the map, okay? It's not like I use the map very often. Okay, Demacia goes up to that mountain. Okay, cool. I just wanted to check where counts as Demacia. So just, oh, it's literally just this bit. Because there's a bit in the middle that you can see not very much in. There basically is no one. But we'll get to that. Because that is relevant. More in Noxus than in Demacia, I think. But yeah, we'll get to it. So all of this is Demacia. And all up here is... I forgot the name. Freljord. The Freljord. I'm hoping, by the way, if I make any mistakes, that Astral is going to jump in and correct me. Because... geography of Runeterra isn't exactly my, degree qualification. So you've got all these little places. These are of little relevance other than to give us geographical locations for stuff happening. But we have a few places that are worth looking at. So we've got Uwendale here. Okay, this is small farming town. Okay, but it's going to be lore relevant. Okay. Then we've got High Silvermere. Okay, this is relevant because this is where two of our very, very prominent champions are going to be from. Okay, and is really, really, really relevant. We have Fossbarrow. Okay, this is again connected to the Crown Guard, so it's going to have some relevance. Okay, and wait, let me zoom back. Did I miss somewhere? No. Okay. And we also have the actual city of Demacia itself, okay? So King Jarvan III, bear that in mind. Seat of power, where the noble houses reside, walls heavily defendable, standard like medieval fortressy type behavior. They also have petricite, which is a magic nullifying substance. Note how much of this is built around a fear of magic. Okay, a fear of magic is the big one here. Okay, that's what's overriding absolutely everything else. Okay, so let's have a look at the Demacian army. Okay, we got our military elite. Okay, their army is like a bit like a lot of these European armies that are very, very well trained, very skilled, very loyal, but they're not big. This is not a mass of numbers. Okay, they're famous for their steel, which you guys will start to recognize as a lot of European and Middle Eastern kind of crossover stereotypes. If you guys are Assassin's Creed fans, a lot of that's going to have taught you what you need to know. Okay. And then this is Prince Jarvan. What number is that, everyone? The I is a 1, and it's before, so we take it away from the 5. So this is 4. Jarvan 4. Look at him, man. He looks so sassy with his hip popped. But yeah, you can kind of see they've got that very shiny, lawful vibe to their armor, right? Yeah, you know when these guys come, they follow the rules. Okay. And in terms of their architecture, actually not as different to Targon as I expected. We're seeing those same lofty ideals things. In Targon, those lofty ideals come from religion. Here, it's not so much religion as a just feeling of moral correctness. That we see these very lofted buildings, these very majestic kind of fortressing. Very much, you know, standing for a moral ideal. Okay. Let me just pop into, which one was it? Nope, not that one. Okay. And this is what High Silvermere looks like. I want you to kind of get the idea that these kids are being raised with the beliefs they have in a place that looks like this. Their very environment cements this feeling of majestic superiority that they have. These people are fully raised to believe in their own greatness. And everything is very obviously heavily fortified. Okay. There's a lot of fortification involved here. Okay. Now, remember what I said about lawful not always meaning good? Do you recognize this rally scene here? Anyone getting Nuremberg in 38 vibes? Well, you should be. Because there's definitely some Nazi belief kind of lifting for the Demacian law. Now remember, that someone having bad beliefs doesn't mean they don't believe it with their whole chest. Remember how these people will have been raised, and remember this is a monarchy, and generally in feudal monarchies you're raised to believe that your monarchy is unquestionably correct. Okay. And look at this. The honoring of those heroes, making sure that all these people who probably did very morally questionable things, but are very unquestionably displayed as heroes in Demacia, and that's going to be super important. Just a note, these are raptors native to Demacia. Just the same as we talked about some of the creatures in Targon, there are creatures that are relevant. Okay, so these raptors can not be domesticated, but they might choose to allow themselves to be ridden, which is the most cat-like behavior I've ever seen in an animal, right? I will allow you to have me around. And so we end up with these raptor knights. Also important to note, remember, these guys do not dabble in magic. 100% do not. But obviously, if they're going to oppose magic, they need to have some way of dealing with magic. And so being Skyborn is, you know, kind of important. So how are we feeling about Demacia, guys? Are we ready?
Very anti-magic.
Oh, yeah. So, allow me to read Demacia's intro for you. Demacia, a strong, lawful kingdom with a prestigious military history. Demacia's people have always valued the ideals of justice, honor, and duty most highly, and are fiercely proud of their cultural heritage. But in spite of these lofty principles, this largely self-sufficient nation has grown more insular and isolationist in recent centuries. Now, Demacia is a kingdom in turmoil. The capital, the great city of Demacia, was founded as a refuge from sorcery after the nightmare of the Rune Wars and built upon a riddle of petricite, a peculiar white stone that dampens magical energy. It is from here that the royal family has long seen to the defense of the outlying towns and villages, farmland and forests, and mountains rich with mineral resources. However, following the sudden death of King Jarvan III, other noble families have not yet approved of the succession of his sole heir, the young Prince Jarvan, to the throne. Of course they haven't. Those who dwell beyond the heavily guarded borders are increasingly viewed with suspicion, and many former allies have begun to look elsewhere for protection in these uncertain times. Some dare to whisper that the golden age of Demacia has passed, and unless its people are willing to adapt to a changing world, something many believe they are simply incapable of doing, the kingdom's decline may be inevitable, and all the petricite in the land will not protect Demacia from itself. Bear in mind that the world that we're looking at for Runeterra, whilst the Rune Wars did happen, the world is utilizing magic. No one outside of Demacia shares this same level of terror about magic. And they also don't differentiate the different sources and types of magic. Magic is magic. Magic bad. Okay, and as we'll learn in some of the other regions, there are different sources of magic. We learned a bit about that in Targon, but I would argue the Targon source of magic still connects to the whole Rune Wars stuff, but there are sources of magic that are very unconnected. Champions we're going to see. Now, this is where it gets good, because we have quite a lot we're going to see. We're going to see a few connected champions too, but these are the Demacians. We're also going to look at Zahen, Evelyn, Lucian, Senna, and Nocturne as part of the later part of Demacia. But Fiora, I'm really looking forward to Fiora. Galio makes me laugh hard as fuck. I'm looking forward to the day we do Gallios, to be honest. Garen, he's, you know, generic white boy. Jarvan 4. Kale's quite cool. There's a couple here who are probably going to... There's a few here who are going to seem confusing to you in a Demacia, I guess, but their lore will make it make sense. Oh, Lucian is in Demacia. Wait, Lucian is, but Senna isn't. That's really funny. Okay. Lux. Morgana. Poppy, who this is the one we're going to do today. Quinn, we talked about Quinn. Quinn has one of the locations on the map. Shyvana. Sona. Silas. Vayne. And Zin. And what you're probably noticing about a lot of these is there's quite a few magic wielding ones, right? So obviously this is going to be relevant in the lore for Demacia. Okay. Are we ready for a little video? All right, guys. Hopefully the audio plays. If it doesn't, someone tell me. Oh, no audio? Oh my goodness, what? I don't
Yeah, no audio.
understand.
Sorry.
So you should be. Okay, that's really weird. Okay, let's try again with some audio, guys.
Wow. Stop! You're gonna get us in trouble. Look,
Okay, now I
I'm
can hear.
Garrett Crown Guard, Might of Demacia. It's over for this monster. You're spinning the wrong way. Listen, beast. You don't stand a chance against Fior Lerat. How does she do those moves? So close to glory.
Decent footwork. Need to watch your guard, though. You think they're ready to join the Vanguard?
Well, they certainly know the flashy stuff. But seeking glory only goes so far. Will glory be there for every failure? Will glory lift you through all your trials? A true Demacian seeks excellence. So when you face death's terrible jaws, you will not falter!
Fiora.
You want me to sugarcoat it?
You keep at it.
I mean, she's not wrong. We should not be sugarcoated. However, it's kind of crazy even to say that to an adult. Especially when you find out what they're mostly fighting. Spoiler, it's not just dragons. Okay. I believe that is the end of our Demacia moment. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, it is. Beautiful. So, we're going to start on Poppy. But I'm just going to take a very brief break to munch down on this food before we start Poppy. I'll be back in about 4 minutes, probably. Let me just put you on back. Hello, my name is Just Jihei, and you might know me from such classics as Kidnapping Filipinos, Platonic Men in My Basements, and my iconic attempts at scuff-free streams. Wow! Yes, you heard it, scuff-free streams. After many years of work, tireless effort, I have created a product that can scuff-free streams and sprays it right in your face. So if you are fed up of scuffed streams, chatters saying such things as, "Have you tried turning it off and on again? Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Game volume too loud. Model lagging. And more. Then please purchase Scuff Be Gone. Scuff Be Gone is the product you can spray in your face and never have to worry about scuff ever again. Scuff Be Gone's retail price varies from region to region and has an excessive price gouging addition. No guarantees are made of Scuff Be Gone's ability to actually remove scuff. Alright, we back. And we poppy in it. Ready, nerds? Because there's a lot. So, let's dive right in. I'm no hero, just a yordle with a hammer. Okay, yordles, guys. Oh my god. How am I going to explain? Okay, Bandle City is a whole thing. Not even on the maps. We haven't even gone into it yet. But yordles are from there. Yordles are kind of like magical little chibis. I don't know how else to describe them. They do vary quite a lot in appearance, but the general thing they have in common is being a little chibified adorableness. And they are, wait, no, they're not technically immortal, but they live so long, like, that.
Oh no, they are canonically.
No, they're not immortal because they regenerate. I'm trying to work out how to explain it. They live really long. Yeah, can you stop it? They live really long lifespans, so much as to feel immortal. So, like, humans will have known the same yordle, like, for generation after generation after generation after generation. And when they do die, they don't die. They, like, are reborn. Like, it's like a reincarnation mechanic. We'll go into more detail when we get to them. But for now, because Poppy's the only one we've met, I think. Yes. So we'll get to them in more detail once we've met a few. We'll I think Heimerdinger would be a good one to delve into it. Not on the same day we've delved into Demacia. That's the main point. We'll delve into it another time. Okay. Runeterra has no shortage of valiant champions, but few are as tenacious as Poppy, bearing the legendary Hammer of Orlon, a weapon twice her size. This determined yordle has spent untold years searching in secret for the fabled hero of Demacia, said to be its rightful wielder. Until then, she dutifully charges into battle, pushing back the kingdom's enemies with every whirling strike. Okay, let's biographize her. Keeper of the Hammer. Unsurprising, we just got told she keeps a hammer. Wait, her intro is the start of her story. That's wild. That's just lazy. League, that's lazy. Runeterra has no shortage of valiant champions, but few are as tenacious as Poppy. Bearing a hammer twice the length of her body, this determined yordle has spent untold years searching for the hero of Demacia, a fabled warrior said to be the rightful wielder of her weapon. As legend describes it, this hero is the only person who can unlock the full power of the hammer and lead Demacia to true greatness. Though Poppy has searched the furthest corners of the kingdom for this legendary fighter, her quest has proven fruitless. Each time she has attempted to pass the hammer on to a potential hero, the results have been disastrous, often ending in the warrior's death. Most people would have abandoned the task long ago, but most people do not possess the pluck and resolve of this indomitable heroine. Also, the infinite lifespan. I feel like most of us would just feel like it was a waste of time. Poppy was once a very different yordle. For as long as she could remember, she had been in search of a purpose. Feeling alienated by the chaotic whimsy of the other yordles, she preferred to soak up stability and structure where she could find it. This drive brought her to the human settlements of Western Valorant, where she gazed. Valorant is the island, like the landmass, where she gazed in wonder at the caravans stripping the countryside in an endless file. Many of the people there looked tattered and weary, but they stumbled on in pursuit of some ephemeral better life that might be just beyond the horizon. One day, however, oh my god. The cats have opinions. Sola, Remy! Sola, Remy! Come on. I think that we need to stop whatever that was. I know, Sola. I don't think Remy understands that you don't like that. It's too much roughhousing for you. You're a lady. No, okay, don't. Yeah, Astral made the mistake of opening something and now they think it's dinner. Okay, that's fine. That's Astral's problem. Let's try again. One day, however, a different sort of caravan passed through. Unlike the other travelers, these people seemed to move with purpose. They all awoke at the exact same time each morning, roused by the sound of a watchman's horn. They took their meals together every day at the same hour, always finishing within a few minutes. They set up their camps and took them down with remarkable efficiency. While Yordles used their innate magic to fashion extraordinary things, these humans achieved equally astounding feats through coordination and discipline. They acted in concert like the cogs of a gear, becoming something much larger and stronger than any single person could ever be. To Poppy, that was more marvelous than all the magic in the world. As Poppy watched the camp from the safety in her hiding place, her eyes caught the gleam of armor emerging from a tent. It was the group's commanding officer, wearing a brigandine of gleaming steel plates, each piece overlapping, each an integral part of the whole. The man's name was Olan, and his presence seemed to stir the souls of everyone there. If someone became discouraged, he was there to remind them of why they pressed on. If someone collapsed from exhaustion, he inspired them to get up. It reminded Poppy of certain Yordle charms, though again, without magic. Poppy crept in for a closer look. She found herself following this shining commander, as if drawn to him by fate itself. She observed Olan as he led his soldiers in training exercises. He was not a large fellow, yet he swung his massive battle hammer with surprising alacrity. At night, Poppy listened intently to his hushed discussions with the elders of the camp. Since when does Jihei do League content? Since most of the time I've been a streamer. Did you not know this, Nate? I'm a League girly. Legally League. I've heard you mention League exactly 0 times. Well, yeah, but you usually pop in when I'm streaming something other than League. I don't talk about it while I'm streaming other stuff. I don't sit in Phasmophobia going, oh man, this reminds me of that time in League. I even have... Wait, where is it? Where is it? Oh, wait, do I not have it on my options? Oh man, I don't have it on my options. Oh yeah, I do.
I'm not that crazy.
Damn. I even have a League cosplay. Yeah. Why not League? Skills transfer 1-to-1 fast. Well, that is bad news for me because my League skills are barely existent. My fast skills do exist. Where were we? Okay. Poppy's mind was overwhelmed with questions. Where was Olan going? Where did he come from? How did he assemble this meticulous band of travelers? He clearly is a band of autistic people. Actually, no, considering where this is going, maybe I don't want to draw that parallel. I take it back. I do not want my TISM card revoked. And was there a place for a Yordle in it? Definitely not. At that moment, she made the most important decision in her life. For the first time ever, she would reveal herself to a human. Now, girl, that's how you get yourself arrested. That's a bad time. As this was the first time she'd ever felt a connection to one. Okay. Simply because I have lots of like VTuber types in my chat from time to time, I want to make something clear that I know the VTuber community find hard. Just because you feel a connection with someone doesn't mean you can go around revealing yourself to them. Okay? That's not how consent works. Okay? You can't just go around revealing yourself to people. You gotta wait until they want you to. Okay? We all got that, guys? We're not going to be revealing ourselves to folk unconsenting. Just checking. Gotta trust you all. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did you come from? All right, Joe. Lol. Oh man, I wish I'd thought of that one. The introduction was a jarring, with all having just as many questions for Poppy as she had for him. Things like, why are you blue? Why are you 2 foot tall? Why have you taken all your clothes off? But the two soon became inseparable. Okay, well, maybe it worked for her, but I stand by my previous statement, VTubers. It's not something you should go around doing. He became a mentor to her, and she a devotee to his cause. I want more devotees to my cause, to be honest. So if any of you are considering devoting yourself to a cause, can I recommend myself? I would be an excellent cult leader. I'm charming. I seem harmless. I hold many questionable opinions. I feel like devoting yourself to my cause can only end well for both of us. The option's there. However, I will ask you not to reveal yourself to me. But other than that, we're all good. In the training grounds, Poppy was an invaluable sparring partner, the only member of Orlon's battalion who was unafraid to strike him. She was never obsequious, questioning his decisions with an almost childlike innocence, as though she didn't know she was supposed to meekly follow orders. She accompanied him to the site of the new settlement, an ambitious new nation called Demacia, where all were welcome regardless of station or background. I smell a porky pie, for those who don't know. Rhyming slang. Lie. Let's just reread that. Where all were welcome, regardless of station or background, so long as they contributed to the good of the whole. Should we just remember that for a second? All were welcome. Orlon became a beloved figure throughout the kingdom. Though few had actually seen him wield his hammer, he always bore it on his back, and the weapon quickly became a revered icon for the fledgling nation. People whispered that it had the power to level mountains and tear the earth itself asunder. Orlon passed the hammer to Poppy on his deathbed, and with it, his hope of an enduring kingdom. It was only then that Orlon told her the story of his weapon's creation, and how it was never truly intended for his hands. He explained to Poppy that the hammer was meant to go to the hero of Demacia, the only one who could keep Demacia whole. As her friend drew his last breath, Poppy swore to him that she would find this hero and place the weapon in his hands. But what Poppy possesses in resolve, she lacks in ego, as it never even occurred to her that she might be the hero Orlon had described. Okay, just remember, Demacia, right? A land founded on the principle of being welcome to all. Okay, this is very important that we remember this, because I am going to have some speeches about this in later issues, in later episodes. Okay, Poppy has like 2 stories, because honestly this stream wasn't going to be long enough apparently. Could have been a Philippines mentioned week, but it had to be a clown fiesta, didn't it? Had to be a clown fiesta. Yeah, the 2 foot tall blue, good at fighting, traveled with me for years. Oh, what the heck? Could be anyone. Look, to be fair, Yordles are not known for their massive common sense. Let's be real. The Yordle common sense total is not strong in League lore. I think even my listeners, when I go to read the lore, the ones who just listen for sleepy time stories, will admit. Wait, that's a point. How have you not noticed I have an entire YouTube channel full of me reading league lore stories? Like, what the hell, Nave? What the hell? Yordles are canonically goofy guys. I mean, Yordles seem quite capable of doing more harm than good by thinking they're doing good. That seems to be a common Yordle trait. All of that lifespan and the common sense of no existing. Wild. Okay. The Slayer. Oh man, I should have had a sound effect set up for this, shouldn't I? We should have launched into the Buffy theme song. Pretend that happened. Thank you guys. That was hilarious. I'm so glad I remembered to set that up in advance. That's great. I'm glad we could all be here for that. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. Wait, is that a cat's butt? Has one of the cats deigned to join us? Kind of. Look at this. She gave me the cold shoulder. She's sitting on the chair furthest away from me. Look at that. That girl really took a vote. Maybe I'm not forgiven for flying them here. They don't understand that the person looking after them can't look after them from January, so it was this or be homeless. And you were going to have to fly her eventually. No, she's not forgiven me. The Slayer. Okay. We got this. Poppy had nothing against the Briar Wolf, aside from the fact that it was about to maul her. What the? I mean, as far as things to have against an animal go, being about to maul you seems like a pretty significant thing to hold against them. Okay. Its muzzle was stained crimson from a previous kill, and the Yordle wouldn't chance being its next. She was hot on the trail of a renowned monster slayer, and she didn't intend to die before she found the man and judged his worth. She has the best job ever. She gets to go around judging whether men are worthy. How do I get this job? Oh, I would love that. To quote the great Alawi, "Men live, men die. Change is good." Fine, we'll let Poppy do the job. "You should step back. You won't survive this," Poppy told the wolf, holding a hammer aloft as a deterrent. But the Briar Wolf was not discouraged, possibly because it's a flippin' wolf. The sheer Yordle tenacity here. It padded toward her, propelled by some strange desperation that Poppy couldn't identify. Then she saw the telltale foam at the corners of its mouth. This animal was not driven by hunger or territorial instincts. It's got rabies. As rabid. It was in pain and it wanted release. The wolf leapt at her as if it had made up its mind that its next act would be kill or be killed. Poppy swung the hammer, using every ounce of her strength to move the weapon's considerable weight. The blow she delivered and collapsed the animal's skull in an instant, ending its torment. Poppy took no pleasure in the kill, but she supposed it was the best possible outcome for her and the wolf. I'm glad that the story has clarified that she took no pleasure in the kill, as if the default position is the thrill of the murder. Ah, yes, the thrill of the kill. The Yordle looked around at the empty meadow, but sensed no trace of the monster slayer she'd come to find. She had roamed the countryside following rumors of his activities, hoping this mysterious hunter might be the fabled hero she had sought for so many years. But thus far, all she'd found were wolves and wyverns and highwaymen, most of whom she'd been forced to kill in self-defense. Okay. But for real, putting aside how funny that is, you're looking for a famed monster killer and you keep finding wolves and wyverns everywhere? I don't think he's worth judging. I think it's very clear he's not doing a great job of killing the monsters if you keep encountering wolves and wyverns. I think you might as well just go home. Clearly he's not the one. She had spent weeks travelling from hamlet to hamlet in the far-flung corners of Demacia. She walked as fast as her tiny gait would allow, but the monster slayer always seemed to be one step ahead of her, leaving naught but trails of heroic exploits in his wake. For a Yordle, time is a curious thing whose passing is seldom felt, but even for Poppy, the search was beginning to grow long. Okay, so hear me out. Are people making up stories of the monster slayer because when they do, she shows up? Is she the monster slayer? Let's go forth. One day, when she was beginning to doubt herself and her mission, she spied a notice nailed to a roadside post. All are invited to attend the Festival of the Slayer. It was a celebration to honor the very monster hunter Poppy had been seeking. If there was any hope of locating this elusive hero, she would certainly find it there. He might even make an appearance, and then she could size him up in person to determine if he was worthy to carry the hammer Orlan had bequeathed her. The prospect put a spring in her step, and she marched with renewed purpose towards the celebration. Poppy was anxious when she arrived at the village, its banners and streamers gaudily proclaiming the day's activities. Ideally, she would have arrived early at such a public event and claimed a spot in the rear of the crowd so as not to draw attention. But the main market was already packed with spectators, and Poppy found it hard to maneuver through the press of bodies. She squeezed through the legs of the town folk. That's great. Most of whom were too inebriated to notice. Okay, I have never been so drunk that I would not have noticed a 2-foot-tall blue person squeezing between my legs. Let's just acknowledge that that is a special level of drunk you would have to be to not question that that was happening to you. You have? Okay, well, Knave is the inebriated townsfolk then. Clearly, this is shocking. I'd buy him a pint if we were here, slurred one voice above her. Save my goats by killing that monster. Poppy's heart raced as it always did when she heard tales of the hunter. What if he turns out to be the one, she thought. Typical woman, always searching for the one. She's probably seen plenty of perfectly suitable ones right in front of her, but she's looking for the one. Shocking. But deep inside, Poppy asked a different question. What would she do when she was rid of the weapon? Would she find an entirely new purpose? A Yordle without one was a pathetic sight indeed. I'm enjoying the implication that a Yordle is ever a majestic sight. She stopped her mind from wandering and brought it back to the task at hand. The tiny warrior finally managed to weave her way to the back of the market. She found a tall lamppost, both easy to climb and behind the eyes of the crowd. She then shimmied up the post, just high enough to see over the throng. Poppy was just in time. On the far side of the market, a speaker stood with several Demacian officials on a dais, and behind him, something tall was draped in a ceremonial veil. Even with her keen Yordle senses, Poppy could barely hear the man's words. He was talking about the monster hunter and how he had saved numerous farms and villages from wyverns, rabid wolves, and bandits. He said that although this revered warrior had chosen to remain anonymous, it shouldn't stop them from celebrating his deeds. The slayer had been spotted several weeks ago near the town of Owendale, leaving the first eyewitness accounts of his appearance. With that, the speaker pulled off the veil to reveal a stone statue. Poppy grew faint with excitement as she saw the hunter's likeness for the first time. He was the paragon of a Demacian warrior, 7 feet tall, armored in heavy plate mail and rippling with sharply defined muscles. Beneath him lay the corpse of a wolf he had presumably slain. Just as the image had begun to settle in Poppy's mind, she heard the sound of a child's voice a few yards away. "Look, Dad, it's the slayer, the one from the statue," declared the wide-eyed girl. Poppy saw the girl was pointing in her direction. She whirled around to see if the slayer was standing behind her, but no one was there. No, lass, said the girl's father. That one's no monster slayer, too small by half. The girl and her father quickly lost interest and strolled through the village to partake in the various amusements. As the crowd in front of the statue dispersed, Poppy moved in for a closer inspection. Now she could see the fine details of the hunter's marble depiction. His hair was long, fair, and bound in 2 separate side knots. His hands were gnarled from 100 battles, and in them he held a massive battle hammer not unlike the one Orlon had given her. If there was a truer hero in the kingdom, Poppy had never seen him. He has to be the one, Poppy said. I hope I'm not too late. She turned and left the festival as fast as her legs could carry her, taking the swiftest route. Okay, that's actually hilarious that I was right. The girl, clearly there's no monster slayer around. You're the only one slaying any monsters. I mean, I guess a lot of Poppy's lore is that then, just Poppy not realizing it's Poppy who should have the hammer. I love that for us. I love that for Poppy. Okay. I feel like we're zooming through Poppy's lore because there's so much in this stream today. Okay. And I'm tired and EP. I'm EP, guys. Like, you have no idea. Like, however EP you are, I'm like 10 times as EP minimum. Minimum. For real. Yeah. No cap. The Whispering Doodad. Don't you hate it when your doodad whispers? Should see a doctor about that. Oh, I've got the hiccups. Oh dear. If I hiccup at you guys, I'm sorry. I don't think I can keep muting my mic for them. The Whispering Doodad. Let me tell you about my glade. On a clear night, like this night in fact, when the moon is full and ripe, silver light glitters on star-shaped leaves with hair-fine fronds like threads of silk, and night-blooming selenia render my glade a magical wonderland. A traveller might catch the scent of far distant continents on the wind. Only hints to be sure, but such hints. A bouquet of desert spices, sun-baked stone, and salt from the crests of racing waves, mingled with the evergreen sap scent of highland firs. You might think such a turn of phrase overly whimsical. Words that might tumble from the lips of a hopeless romantic or a lovelorn poet. You'd be right, of course, but that doesn't make them any less true. And while we're on the subject of romantics, an artistic soul might, if they came here at just the right time, see dancing patterns of the moonglow dappling through the forest canopy. Their eye might follow it around, gradually sensing an order to the play of light and shadow across the bark of a tree, or in the ripples upon a pool of water. A pattern that almost looks like it might just form a doorway of sorts, if only it would complete. But no matter how those patterns swirl and dance, they never fully coalesce into a whole. Almost never, that is. After all, the magic of these lands is skittish, with good reason, and doesn't reveal its secrets to just anyone. We nature spirits are drawn to places like this. They nurture us as we in turn nurture them. You can find us all over the world. In some places more than others, yes. But if there's magic bubbling up, like or not, you'll find a spirit like me. I flatter myself that the glade I inhabit is more infused with it than most other places in this land that mortals call Noxus, if you know the right way to look. Most of this world's inhabitants have forgotten how to see, how to really see. But there are others, a whole race of them, in fact, who never forgot. They're called yordles, and they're not exactly from this world. I'm friends with a lot of them. 2 of them are approaching now. It sounds like they're trying to get back to their kin, but they're having trouble with the, for want of a better word, key that's supposed to help them find their way home. You see, the low roads they travel don't run on the surface of this world, nor do they travel straight like those of the men who call the lands hereabouts home. They curve and loop, swirling all around the place like a crazy knot you can't ever untie. Most yordles know how to travel them relatively easily, but these 2, let's just say they're not the best suited traveling companions. I can hear them, just beyond the spirit veil, bickering like a pair of hungry foxes. They'll be here soon, but I wonder if they know they're not the only ones approaching. Mortals are coming this way. Warriors, armed in steel and stone, bearing instruments of death. I don't like them, but don't misunderstand my reasons. I understand death is necessary, a vital part of the natural cycle of being. But these people only take and don't give back. They pave over the land with roads that do not curve. They use their axes and saws to clear the land of growing things. They are an empire of angles and order. Nearby trees bend away from them in response, but they don't notice, of course. Mortals almost always miss their impact on the world around them. Yep, we lay concrete on the floodplains and then wonder why we flood. Okay. Oh, my nose do be itching. Okay, yeah, I was trying to see who the other person is. A woman with long brown hair. A woman with long brown hair, that's better, is the first end to my wooded glade. That sounds like a really, really flowery euphemism. And then she entered my wooded glade. Dying. She taps spurred heels to her horse's flanks and rides in a circle, scanning the tree line and ground for signs of life that might mean her harm. Her eyes are cold, and she surveys the beauty of the trees like a woodsman sharpening an axe. She halts her mount in the middle of the glade and sits in silence. She hears birdsong, the sighing of the forest, and the burbling stream flowing over time-smoothed rocks. Most people who come here are calmed by these sounds, their souls replenished simply by being in nature. But not her. None of the forest's energy touches her, and I don't know whether to feel sad or angry. The woman is patient, and only after several minutes pass does she lift her arm and spread her fingers wide. Moments later, a dozen riders appear at the edge of the glade, their horses exhausted, flanks lathered white and heads bowed. I did not know this about horse sweat until recently. Did you guys know this about horse sweat? Horses sweat lathers. It gets foamy. Horses have foamy sweat. Now, I've ridden horses and somehow didn't know this. I've cleaned horses and somehow didn't know this. I don't know how I didn't notice this. Like, I'm genuinely perplexed. Yeah, like, but I grew up around horses. Like, I wasn't a big horse lover, but I grew up around them. And somehow just, I mean, yeah, now I think about it, yeah, but it never really registered in my head. What? Maybe I am a yordle. Maybe that's what we're discovering here. I have the observancy and common sense of a yordle, apparently. Oh, dear. There you go, guys. Today I've given you this little fact, if you didn't already learn it. Horses have foamy sweat. These animals have carried their riders a great distance, so I extend a little magic into their tired limbs. They whinny and toss their manes in gratitude, just like me. I love this word. A mustachioed man, clad in leather and furs, rides towards the woman. A bronze circlet holds his long dark hair from his face, and his tunic has been cut to show off his muscular build. A wolf pelt cloak mantles his shoulders, and a pair of circle grip axes are slung at his back. Like the woman, his gaze makes me fear what he might do to the trees. Won't somebody think of the trees? Yes, I think I dislike him even more than the woman. What took you so long, Tamara, he says, afraid we'll be ambushed? She ignores his questions. We should make camp here, Draven. Fresh water and plentiful wood. It's broad and wide too, so there's limited avenues of approach. Spoken like a true Noxian war mason. You say that like it's a bad thing. She slides from her saddle, and as soon as her boots hit the ground, I recoil from the stone in her veins, the iron in her soul. The sounds in the glade dim, but none of the humans notice. I want to reach the capital before we die of old age, says Draven. The fighting in Basilisk was fun, but I need to get back to the arena and put these axes to good use. You also want to go back and tell Darius that you'd rather his army advance without a war mason carefully scouting the way? We're in no danger, says Draven. Not in the Empire's heartland. She folds her arms. You heard what happened to Wintry outside Drekken? No, shrugs Draven. But you're going to tell me, aren't you? She looks at him, then sighs and shakes her head. What would be the point? It's not about you, so you're not going to care. I listen to them trade insults back and forth, but am confused at how the words they say don't match the shimmering colours of their auras. It's a source of great confusion to me that mortals spend so much time saying things they do not mean and feelings they do not express. There's an honesty to nature, albeit a bloody one, you can count on. I'm going to be honest, I feel for her because, honestly, sometimes you'd be working with a man and you'd be thinking, I'm wasting my breath here. I'm wasting my breath. Okay, we're back to yordles. The tree likes yordles, so we're probably okay. It's nightfall when the yordles get here. I feel the irresistible call of their key and push a little of my power into the spirit realm to open the way. One of the silver-bark trees shifts her branches windward slightly, and the last rays of sunset complete a glowing amber pattern on the gnarled knots of a mossy trunk. Shadow, light, and ridged bark combine to form an endless loop that from a certain angle and a certain height looks like a portal into a land of eternal sunrise. Whispers and song echo from the arbor in the heart of the tree. The Noxians are busy with their horses, and the animals make enough noise that the humans don't hear it. It sounds like the winds are speaking, passing secrets between the trees. Maybe they are. You can never really know what the winds are saying. Well, maybe the bluebird of the seas knows, but she doesn't roam far from the sunken city these days. The grass around the base of the silverbark ripples in a warm breeze that carries a multitude of stories from another realm. I've heard hundreds of them, but the yordles have an inexhaustible supply, and I'll never tire of learning of their travels. There's a soft pop of air, like a bubble bursting on the surface of a lake, and two diminutive forms tumble out from the tree. They roll into the high grass, looking surprised to find themselves in a forest glade. One of them immediately picks herself up and brings her big cannon to bear. She spins round, left, then right. She draws a bead on a rabbit with a half-chewed ear, poking a twitching nose from its burrow. Did you do this? She asks. The rabbit doesn't answer, but then rabbits are stoic. Rabbits are stoic. Okay, fine. You want a secret kept, but you have to tell someone? Tell a rabbit. They'll take it to their grave. Okay, so we'll have more yordles. So just bear in mind, we're on a bit of a yordle kick. It's kind of a deviation from our Demacia bit because we got some yordle stuff going down. I know this yordle. She's called Tristana, and she looks mad, like she's ready to march off to a fight, but forgot which way the war was. Her purple skin is flushed a deeper shade than normal, and her white hair is swept back into a tight ponytail. She hefts a cannon and aims it towards the rabbit. It hops forward, unfazed by the threat. I won't ask again, says Tristana, and Boomer never misses. The rabbit twitches its nose, cool as winter frost. Tristana's traveling companion sits up, a tiny winged fairy circling her head. Lulu and Pix. Her wild purple hair billows in a wind that only seems to affect her. Imagine that. Imagine having your own personal cosmic wind machine so that you could just always look fabulous at all times. Honestly, if I was rich, I would just pay someone to follow me around with a little handheld wind machine. That would be epic. Full G hair at all times because my hair is majestic and it deserves that. Her tall hat sits at a funny angle. It's slipped over her eyes and she taps around her with a curling stick. I've gone blind, she says. That's new. Tristana keeps her gaze locked on the rabbit and holds up a hand to silence Lulu, but her friend doesn't see it. Lulu gets up and walks in a circle, tapping the ground in front of her. The flowers duck, and the buzzing glitterbugs scatter before Pix can pluck their wings. Lulu's fairy companion is cute, but he's got a strange sort of humour. I can't ever tell if he's really funny or rude. Maybe it's both. He's British. That's all he is. Can't tell if he's funny or rude. He's British. There you go. I've solved the problem for you. You're welcome, tree. Tristana, are you there? Says Lulu. Tristana sighs in exasperation. She taps 2 fingers to her eyes and then points them at the rabbit with a stern look. I'm watching you, Flopsy, she warns. Her jaw drops as she finally notices the humans in the glade. She darts over to Lulu and pushes her back against the tree. The portal they fell from is already fading as light changes. Humans, she hisses. Where? Says Lulu. It's all dark. But then sometimes I see more with my eyes closed. Tristana sighs and pulls the brim of Lulu's hat up. Lulu blinks and hugs Tristana. It's a miracle! My God, even by Yordle standards, she's kind of something else, isn't she? Quiet, hisses Tristana, and Pix darts down to zap a tiny spike of violet light at her cheek. Tristana bats the fairy away with a grimace. I bend the shadows around the trees a little. Humans sometimes have a hard time seeing Yordles, at least as they really are. But I think the woman with the cold eyes might be sharper than most, and I don't want to see these two get hurt. Tristana. It's good background when you're working. Well, I do actually record them properly read, like nicely read. So if you ever want to put on some background, all of the videos of me reading them are on my YouTube. And I read just the stories. It's whole playlists. I recommend the playlist without music, to be honest, because some of the background levels and the music get really messed up during upload, and I don't really know how or why. But without music is good. I guessed it was Boss, yes. But yeah, I don't put my all into reading them on stream because we're really supposed to be talking about it, but I have to read them for people to talk about them with people, so. Tristana glances around the tree. The Noxians are making camp, but I'm relieved to see they're not lighting a fire. Draven is grumbling about that, but Tamara is adamant they not broadcast their presence. I make sure all the wood in this glade is green and not for fires. Doesn't stop everyone who comes this way from trying their luck with an axe or saw, but most of them. Tristana nods to herself. They haven't seen us, she whispers. Good. They look friendly, says Lulu, peeking over Tristana's shoulder. I think we should say hello. They're Noxians, replies Tristana, and I feel her exasperation. You don't talk to Noxians unless you want to lose your head. Why? Do they like collecting heads? Tristana rolls her eyes, finally taking the time to examine her surroundings. I lift up some flowers and wave to her. She can't help but feel the magic in the glade and waves back. Some people say Tristana's all business and so very serious, but I know better. She looks up at the tree and gives it an experimental rap with her knuckles. She taps gently around the bark before finally hearing a booming echo from deep inside the tree. Some of the Noxians look up and she winces. I creak some branches and persuade the water to splash playfully over the rocks. The Noxians return to their work. Tristana nods and says thanks, before returning back to Lulu and asking, right, where's the whispering key? The what now? The thing we've been using to travel through all the portals. Remind me, what did it look like? It looked like a little compass made of carved stone. Oh, you mean my doodad. Begins Tristana before settling on, yes, that's what I mean. Lulu does a pirouette and pats herself down, checking pockets that seem to appear and disappear at random. She closes one eye and bites her lip, pulling out coins, dice, chips of precious stones and glittering fluff, but nothing resembling a key. I just had it. Yes, you did, agrees Tristana through gritted teeth. You used it to open the portal on the beach while we were running from that pack of crag wolves after we dropped in on Poppy. I like Poppy, but she's so serious, says Lulu, stomping around as if she's marching on a parade ground. She pauses to stare at Tristana. Wait, are you and her actually the same Yordle? No, of course we're not, sighs Tristana. Now will you hurry up, please? This is actually hilarious. Oh, a hydrate. I will hydrate for you, Esther. Lulu stresses me just reading about her. That's crazy. You could be, you know. Same hair and that little furrow just above your nose when you get mad. See, there it is. Getting angry with Lulu won't do any good. It would be like chasing a cub that's stolen your shoe. It's all part of a fun game. I send a cooling breeze to ruffle Tristana's white hair, but it doesn't seem to help. Your doodad. Can you just get it for me? Oh, right, yes, I was looking for that, wasn't I? Yes. Yes, you were. Lulu sighs, making a theatrical show of befuddlement. She looks up at the darkening sky and snaps her fingers. No wonder I can't find it, she says. It's too dark. She lifts her crooked staff, and Tristana's eyes widen as she realizes what Lulu's about to do. But it's too late to stop her. A stream of glitter bursts from the end of Lulu's staff and explodes like a swarm of dancing fireflies overhead. The glade is bathed in the glow of 1,000 stars and a secret gathering of moons. Aha, says Lulu, finally pulling out something from a fold in her tunic. It looks like a cross between a budding seed pod and a curling seashell. A rainbow of colourful lines swirls on its surface, and what look like tiny tadpoles swim inside it. Here it is. Tristana looks horrified as the light from Lulu's staff floods the glade. But before she can react... Oh, sorry, guys. A spinning axe blade flashes between the two of them and buries itself in the bark of the tree. Lulu almost jumps out of her skin, and the seed pod seashell flies from her hand. The silver bark cries out in pain, so I pour magic up through her roots and into the heartwood. Vivid amber sap oozes from the gouge in the wounded tree's bark, pinning the axe in place. Lulu's doodad sails through the air to land somewhere in the middle of the glade. It rolls in the tall grass, and I feel its primal energies pulse outwards in a rippling wave. Oops, says Lulu. A veritable flurry of black-shafted arrows slices through the undergrowth as the Noxians respond the only way they know how. Get back, shouts Tristana, swinging Boom around and dragging Lulu away to find cover behind a mouldy log covered in moss and ivy. An arrow punches into the rotten wood. Another splits the night a hair's breadth from Tristana's ear. Lulu squeals and picks darts to Tristana's side. Fresh wildflowers of blue, gold, and crimson instantly bloom on the dead wood. Tristana fires Boomer. Blam, blam, blam. Everyone ducks. Noxians, rabbits, glitterbugs, even the worms burrow deeper. Boomer's cannibals streak burning streamers across the glade, and spouts of water leap from the stream to cool them as they ricochet from the rocks. The last thing we want in the glade is a fire. Spread out, yells Draven, running to retrieve his axe from the silverbark's trunk. The Noxians are quick to obey. Say what you like about the Noxians, and I've heard plenty of humans passing through my glade who have a lot to say about Noxians. They're disciplined. Tamara runs to her horse and draws a slender rapier from the saddle scabbard. She grins at Draven and says, "No chance of an ambush, eh?" Draven shrugs, and his aura gives no sense of any alarm or care at being proven wrong. All I sense is glee at the chance to spill blood. Yes, I definitely dislike him more than Tamara. The Noxian warriors spread out through the glade, moving forward in pairs as archers loose steady volleys of arrows to keep the two Yordles from moving. I know nothing of war, but even I can see the deadly tactics of Noxians will see Lulu and Tristana dead. I'm all for fun and games, but I don't want anyone killed. Magic surges through the ground in a powerful wave. I weave loops of grass that tangle the feet of the first Noxian soldier, a great brute of a man with a double-bladed axe. He goes down hard, slicing open his arm as he falls flat on his face. His companion trips over him, dropping her sword, and the man cries out in pain as it stabs a handspan into his buttock. An amberwood tree twists its trunk and whips its willowy branches around like a catapult. It smacks a crouching archer in the face and he topples backwards. The arrow he was poised to loose goes straight up in the air. A careful gust of wind and it plunges down between his legs, tearing his breeches open at the crotch. At least the forest has a sense of humour. He yelps in alarm and scrambles back on his haunches. Tristana fires again and Pix jumps into her head, punching the air and shouting, squeaking insults with every shot. Flowers fall from the air above the tiny fairy, and I see more than one arrow deflected around the Yordle gunner by their shimmering petals. "Can you see your doodad?" shouts Tristana over the cannon's noise. Can you see your doodad, guys? Can you see your doodad? Lulu spins her staff around and springs onto its shepherd's crook handle. She shades her eyes with one hand and peers through the fading illumination. An arrow slashes towards her, but the coiled point of her hat smacks it from the air. Nope, but then I don't know what it looks like now. What do you mean you don't know what it looks like now? Lulu spins in a spiral down her staff, and daisies spring up around her as she lands. The doodad's a bit flighty, you see. Every time I put it down, it likes to try out a different shape. Tristana groans as Lulu sends a blazing shaft of sparkling light through the trees. A pair of Noxians are hurled through the air. They land in the stream, and I immediately mob them with a knot of frogs. The tongues of bucket frogs are coated with slime that will give them waking dreams and ought to send them to the moon and back. So it could look like anything? Asked Tristana. Pretty much, agrees Lulu. Just look out for it with the corner of your eye. It only changes if it thinks you're looking right at it. I never thought I'd say this, but I wish Heimer was here right now, says Tristana. We could really use his hex goggles. Don't be silly, says Lulu. That'd take all the fun out of this. Oh my god, Lulu would be murdered if I was traveling with Lulu. Lulu would be deceased, past tense, done. Hello, Remy, hello, Sala. We got more cats. Ish. Tristana spins on her heel to fire at a Noxian leaping towards her. Her cannonball punches him square in the chest, and he flies back into a thorny bush that suddenly gets a lot more thorny. Fun, she says. Then she grins. You know what, you're right. Let's have some fun with these numpties. Grab on. Lulu laughs and throws a hand around Tristana's neck, as if she's just about to give her a big, sloppy kiss. Tristana fires again, and this time her cannon is aimed at the ground. The two yordles erupt from behind the flowery, arrow-studded log and arc over the heads of the advancing soldiers. The Noxians watch, open-mouthed surprise, as the two yordles spin over their heads, giggling musically as they go. Who knows what the Noxians are seeing? Something strange, no doubt. A yordle's glamour is an inconstant thing, and even they don't know how others see them most of the time. Gleaming bolts corkscrew from Lulu's staff, and everywhere they hit, Noxians are thrown from their feet in a spray of petals and sparks that burn like drops of venom. The two yordles land on the run, and while Tristana spins around, firing at any Noxians who rear their heads, Lulu scrambles around on all fours in search of her doodad. Here, doodad, she whispers to the grass. Pretty please, with sprinkles on top. I'll let you take us somewhere you want to go next. The doodad, or whatever it's really called, doesn't respond, but I sense it rolling away from Lulu. Well, not really rolling as such, but more making itself be where she isn't. It's a thing of old and powerful magic, but not without a childish sense of whimsy, like a yordle. It's like it thinks this is a fun game. Perhaps it is, as Lulu is laughing with delight, spinning around and bounding through the glade like a weasel chasing its own tail as she chases her doodad. So funny. It turns into a large snail as Lulu gets close to it, and when she takes her hand away, sticky, it turns into a puff of light before reappearing behind Lulu as a stick man tottering away on mismatched legs. Tristana's keeping the Noxians' heads down with a barrage of cannon fire. I hear Draven finally wrench his axe from the silverbark, its edge all gummy with sap. He turns and moves from cover to cover, stalking Tristana like a cat, all taut limbs and steely focus. He draws his arm back, ready to throw his other axe. A squadron of buzzing wasps swoops in and swarms him as a battalion of angry squirrels drops from the trees. It's like a nightmare. Imagine you're just out there casually murdering and pillaging and making your way around, and then, next thing you know, bam, army of squirrels falling on your head. I would just call it a day. His axe flies wide of the mark, thudding back to earth where the Noxian horses used to be. Now there's only a mess of hoof prints and a few discarded saddles. Draven spins around in a frenzy, pulling the scratching, biting squirrels from his arm and neck. Squirrels are the thugs of the forest. Rabbits might be stoic, but squirrels will bite your ear off as soon as your back's turned. That is definitely a grey squirrel. Right then. It's not red ones, is it? That's grey squirrels. We know it. Grey squirrels are actually famously really bullies. That's quite funny. Lulu's not even looked up. She's still running in circles and giggling like a child as she shoots puffs of light from her staff. With an explosive burst of speed, Tamara breaks from cover and runs straight for Lulu. I use my magic to throw distractions in her path. Frantic moles dig holes before her, but she weaves between their hasty traps. The thorny stems of a hook brush whip at her, but she skids under them. She looks around, starting to understand she has another enemy here, one she can't see or fight. Gotcha, cries Lulu, finally grabbing hold of her doodad. Now it looks like a knotted bunch of twigs held together by loops of grass and spider webs. Tamara dives over a coiling root I rip up from the earth and rolls to her feet. The last sparkles of Lulu's starburst gleam on the rapier as Tamara pulls it back to strike. And then Tristana's there. She hefts Boomer as if her cannon's suddenly gotten heavier. A lot heavier. "That's my friend, Buster," she says, and pulls the trigger. The booming thunder of the cannon is deafening, and birds as far away as 2 rivers west take to the sky at the noise. A blazing tongue of fire erupts from the muzzle as a giant cannonball blasts out. The force of the recoil spins Tristana round, but it's nothing compared to what it does to Tamara. She flies backward like she's been punched by an angry stone golem. She vanishes into the trees, and I don't think she'll be getting up anytime soon. Have I seen anything? I played it for a while. I haven't played it since I've moved here, though. I was enjoying it. I quite like it. Then Tristana is hauled away from the feet by the scruff of her neck. Boomer drops to the earth and Draven holds it up to his face with a bemused grin on his scratched and bleeding face. "What in the name of the wolf are you?" "Put me down, you big oaf," yells Tristana. She kicks and swings her fists at him, but not even her pluck can overcome the length of his limbs. Draven cocks his head to one side, clearly wondering what he's got his hands on. "Hey, why don't you pick on someone your own size?" yells Lulu, aiming her staff towards Draven. Swirling fireworks ripple up and down its length, but Draven doesn't look impressed. "Do your worst, Shorty," he says. "You ain't got nothing that can hurt Draven." Fireworks shoot out of Lulu's staff in a storm of light and miss. Draven laughs, spinning his axe up, but then a tall shadow falls over him and slowly turns round. And that's when he realizes Lulu didn't miss at all. The rabbit with the half-chewed ear looms over Draven, twice his height at least. It munches slowly on a carrot that's as long as Draven's arm. He drops Tristana as the giant rabbit taps 2 stubby fingers of his paw to its eyes, then points them at Draven with a stern look. Draven is a warrior, and has fought his share of monsters, but this is too much even for him. He turns and sprints for the trees, pausing only to scoop up his other axe as he goes. The rest of the Noxians have already fled, or are backing away slowly into the undergrowth at the sight of a giant rabbit. Something tells me they will find a different route for their master's army. I'm going to admit the giant rabbit would certainly put me off too. That's terrifying. My brother was terrified of this guy. We went on a vacation and there was like a guy in a rabbit mascot suit and gave my brother nightmares. Yeah, giant rabbit seems terrifying. Tristana turns to look at the rabbit with a half-chewed ear. "Thanks," she says, but the rabbit doesn't reply. Like I said, stoic. It turns and makes its way back to its burrow in a series of thudding hops. By the time it reaches the entrance, it's more or less returned to its normal size. It squeezes into the burrow with a final waggle of its tail and a puff of earth. Tristana slings Boomer over her shoulder. "Do you have your doodad?" Oh god, this gets better. Lulu holds it up triumphantly. "My very naughty doodad. Shouldn't run off like that." Tristana shakes her head and marches back to the tree they fell out of. Lulu skips after her as Pix buzzes overhead, riding a pair of wasps with a tiny squeal of delight. Oh my goodness. Where are we going? Lulu catches up with Tristana and waves her doodad at the tree in what might be a predetermined pattern. or might just be her hoping for the best. Whatever it is, it works, and the leafy arbor reappears in the silverbark's trunk. Sunrise over the land of Theodore spills into my moonlit glade. I feel its ancient magic, and I send a pulse of my own thought through the air, wishing my two friends interesting travels. Lulu pauses and looks over her shoulder. Thank you, she says, and I feel the boundless joy in her heart. The beauty of my glade is made all the richer for it. Come on, we should get going, says Tristana. Why are you in such a hurry? We should be gone before the Noxians return. I don't think they'll be coming back, says Lulu with a wide grin. The light of the portal swells outwards in a glowing, rippling spiral to envelop the Yordles. Their forms blur and their voices grow faint as they are drawn away once more. But I hear Tristana's last words, and cold winds pass through the glade in a ripple of unease. They're Noxians, she says. They always come back. Okay, well, on the one hand, we did get to learn a bit more about the Yordles. But on the other hand, all we've learned about Poppy, which is the reason we were reading this story, is that Lulu and Tristana think she's quite serious, especially Lulu. I mean, I guess it's good we've learned that. Let's just take a look. What do we got for Poppy? We stopped doing the concept arts, although Poppy looks like Poppy's been pretty consistent, actually. That's pretty interesting. We're not doing the champion insights anymore. So much of this that we just don't do anymore. Okay. We're on to my favorite part of stream. Skins. Skin, 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 skin. Boop, boop, boo. Okay. Poppy. This is where I may have questions for Astral. I mean, Poppy's default's, I guess, kind of solid. She looks Demacian. There's not really much else I can say. She looks like a Yordle and she looks Demacian. Good job, Riot. Good job. Noxus Poppy, I love. I have a soft spot for Noxus Poppy. Look at this. Look at that. Terrifying. The way I'm kind of in the way. Whoosh. See that? It is one of my favorite splash arts, is Noxus Poppy. Look at them little booties. Look how tiny her feet are. Vibes. Okay, but we are about to follow this with one of my least favorite poppies. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this one because Astral knows how I feel about this complete and utter nonsense. We're just moving on. We're just going to move on.
Yeah, you guys don't get to know
Let's just
why.
pretend that Lollipoppy doesn't exist, okay?
Yeah, let's all pretend it doesn't exist. If anyone in the chat knows anything about this skin, just keep your
It
mouth
doesn't
shut for...
exist anymore. It doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
let's forget it. for
I
now.
have now declared it a non-canon event removed from all of our consciousness. However, Blacksmith Poppy I've never seen before I came to this, actually. I like this. This is cool. And also, with the whole hammer thing, Blacksmith kind of makes sense. I'm here for Blacksmith Poppy. I support this. This should be more in our collective consciousness. Thank you very much. Ooh. Oh, she's like a Chucky doll. Ragdoll Poppy. She does look kind of terrifying. Oh, look at this little Tima. Oh no, he's so sad. Up, 2, 3, 4. Oh wait, you guys can't see. There's a little Tima. Up, 2, 3, 4. Wait, is this Annie's bear? In the foreground?
Yes.
It's been ripped. Wow. Is this Annie's toy box? Why is Annie's toy box a bear, a rag doll, and a sad demo. Up, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so before it was like normal day-to-day Demacian Poppy, and now this is like badass warrior Poppy.
Oh yeah, that Battle Regalia Poppy is one of the best next to Blacksmith.
I'm here for this. This is good. I like this. This is not my vibe though, is it? It's all blue and white and gold and
Yeah,
nearly
very.
aggressive. But I will accept. I will accept this one. This is good. Scarlet Hammer Pop. What the hell is this? Context for this? Is there any context for this nonsense? I don't like this skin, guys. Normally I love the red skins too. Normally just having red is enough.
No context for this one. I don't even know anything about this skin.
Normally making a skin red is enough for me to like it, but this is kind of lame. Moving
This
on.
is too much.
I don't understand why Poppy had to be included in Star Guardian, so it confuses me greatly. Some things just don't belong, and it's okay. Like, it's okay. I don't understand. Pretty eyes, though. So, I don't know how I feel about the Star Guardian skins anyway, because I keep saying I like them, but then I think I've been mean about everyone we've come across so far. So maybe I don't. Okay, this is adorable. Look at that with the little poros too in the splash art. Oh my god.
Ooh, Poppy's Christmas skin, yes.
Snowfawn Poppy's
That's good.
adorable. Of course, the Queen of Christmas would enjoy the Christmas skin. And this is an excuse, by the way, for me to crack out Christmas outfit. Yeah, now we can match Poppy. Yeah. I know Christmas has been and gone, and I'm so sad, guys. I'm so sad. I want Christmas back. Give me back my Christmas. Okay, Hextech Pop. Okay, this is kind of cool too. I'm kind of cool with Hextech Poppy. Why does Poppy have so many good skins and so many champions we've looked at had lame skins?
Poppy used to be very like famous back during her first rework, I think, because that's when everyone figured, oh, this is finally a good counter for all top lane champions. Or oh, finally she finally got good skins.
She's got a ton of amazing skins. I'm not a fan of these like very modern-y looking ones. That's not really Poppy's fault. I just don't personally vibe with the modern-looking skins.
Riot's way of just shoehorning Poppy in any skin they deem fit.
Well, I wouldn't like this skin on anyone. I'm just not a fan of the modernized looking skins. Bewitching Poppy. Okay, this is cool. This is kind of cool. If you want a different vibe for Poppy, this is cool. Halloween skin, I'm guessing?
Yes, is a Halloween skin, part of the Bewitching skin line.
I feel like the Yordles can pull off the seasonal skins better because of the ridiculousness of a Yordle to begin with.
Oh yeah, definitely. Half of the Yordles, I guess, not everyone.
Like, the Yordles already look very cartoony and silly, so giving them silly skins doesn't, like, cause me immersion rift. You know, I don't like the Cafe Cuties, but that being said, this is my favorite of the Cafe Cuties we've seen so far. I like the color schemes, the browns, more than the blushes. Some of the others lean more into the blushes. This one leans more into the browns. The hair color is on point. The eye color is on point. And the accessories are not excessively frou-frou-ish. As Cafe Cuties go, this is not objectionable to me the way some of the others are.
I think Poppy's the only like Cafe Cutie skin that doesn't look like too excessive.
Whose Cafe's Cutie skin is it that's really pinky and looks basically like you're wearing a fucking cupcake? I can't remember.
Gwen.
Oh, well, yeah, of course, I should have known it'd be Gwen.
Yeah.
There's-
Next, I think it's Soraka.
Oh, the Soraka one was the one that annoyed me, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I did not enjoy the Soraka one. Yeah, did not enjoy the Soraka Cafe Cutie. But this is okay. This one's okay. I still don't like the Cafe Cutie skins. I'm sorry, guys. I know they're popular, but I don't like them. But like, ugh. Okay. That's it. Only like 1,000,000 skins. Justice for all of the champions I've wanted to have skins that haven't. Okay, now this is where we're changing it for the new region. So when we first started doing these with Targon, we weren't really sure how this was going to go. And I kept doing like these little game for play overviews. But let's be real, I'm not good enough to get player for those to be interesting for you guys. I'm still learning a ton of champs, but I don't want to keep trying to add ones that I don't care about. So we're going to keep looking at the gameplay stuff. And then what we're going to replace it with is either nothing on long streams like today or some TFT afterwards instead. Just some TFT where I'll try and, if I can, link the champion from the stream, assuming the champion from the stream is in the set. Because, to be quite honest, it was a painful end to every stream. Oh my god, these hiccups won't go away, guys. It's like the worst trauma that anyone has ever felt. And Nave, I don't know if you heard me. Yeah, I played Deadlock, but I haven't played it since I moved here. Because I've been busy getting stuff done, importing cats, stuff like that. I made that sound like commercial importing. I mean collecting my cats. It's you, isn't it, Remy? You're the cat. Oh, hello, Sala. You're happy you're here too? You like the Philippines? Are you like being Filipino cats? Wait, Astral, what is Filipino for cat?
Pusa.
Yeah, I'm gonna say cat.
Yeah. No worries, no worries.
Twitch will be banning me for missaying what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. Going?
Or actually, it's either I think pusa or kuting. Oh, kuting is kitten. Sorry.
They're not kittens. We really can't claim this. Guys, Remy here. 9 kilograms. That's not a cat. That's a freaking tiger.
Oh Lord, he coming.
Oh Lord, he coming. Yeah, we're talking about your fatness. The thing is, though, he's not even particularly fat. He's just massive. I don't know how else to explain it. This boy is just giant. Like, he's taking up this whole chair just by himself, but it's not fatness. Like, it's all his legs and stuff. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Okay, I should stop bullying the cat. Okay, let's have a quick look at Poppy, then. So, medium difficulty. Okay, which means I will insist on playing her and then being bad at her. Got it. I think she is on my list to play at some point, so you guys might get to see me play her on stream one day. She's a tank fighter. To be fair, tank fighter is pretty much Astral's safest class to give me. Is that not, Astral?
Yeah, tank fighters are, I think,
Because I'm
what I
going to
would
insist
recommend.
on diving in. And I got to survive.
Yeah, she actually has like a good kit for diving in.
Okay, what does she do? She throws her buckler and bounces off of the target. She can pick it up to gain a temporary shield. Okay. Okay. That's her passive. Okay. Q is hammer shock. Do. Swings a hammer, dealing damage and creating a zone that will slow enemies and explode after a delay. So just damage, slow, more damage, yes?
Yes.
That seems nice. That seems very nice. I'm guessing it doesn't do much damage?
It doesn't do much damage if you're tank, but if you're going for like a bruiser build, it will do a lot of damage.
It seems insanely easy and simple and nice for an ability. What the hell? Okay. Steadfast Presence. Poppy passively gains armor and magic resist. This bonus increases when she is low on health. Ooh, okay. Poppy can activate Steadfast Presence to gain move speed and stop enemy dashes around her. If a dash is stopped, enemy is slowed and grounded. Okay, that's pretty cool. Heroic Charge. Poppy dashes to the target and pushes it back. If the target is pushed into a wall, it's done. Okay, that is pretty cool. I like that. I would never be that good at lining up, to be honest. Keeper's Verdict. Poppy channels a hammer strike that knocks enemies very, very far away. Oh my god, that's amazing.
I have a small fun fact about Poppy's old ultimate.
Tell me this fun fact.
Okay, so I don't know if I told you this before, but Old Poppy's ultimate is that you target like an enemy champion and you only gain damage from that target, and anyone else who tries to deal damage to you are basically immortal. Fun fact, this is mostly used against support when they try to run back to their tower, because even like the fountain can't kill Poppy in her own ultimate. And this used to last for 5 seconds, I think. If anyone can correct me on that one, thank you.
I'm just enjoying that her current ultimate is basically leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, yeah, that's her ultimate.
I have never felt a vibe with Poppy before, and suddenly I feel a kindred spirit. I feel like we have something in common.
You are slow during the channel, but it's worth it because you literally can yeet them way half across the map with that
Leave
ultimate.
me the fuck alone. Like that's I want that IRL. I want a hammer and I can just yeet people across the map of the world. That would get some solid use. Hey, if Poppy is on my list, I might give her a try on stream sometime, but not in these streams. It's not that I'm never going to play League on stream for you guys. I just don't think I should play it the way I have been at the end of these streams. That being said, we will normally do some because that's a little bit of a casual rejoinder to bulk out the streams when they're too short. Because some of these champions, League have been a bit thin on the lore for. And some of them just make me speechless with anger when I'm reading their lore. Again, dear Riot, I would love to fix up your lore, do some rewrites, do some fixing, make some more stories. I would love to. So Riot, I'm very cheap labor. I'm very passionate. And you also wouldn't have to deal with me constantly whining about your lore anymore. And I'm a VTuber. I don't really know why that would work in my favor, but I feel like I'm gonna throw it out there. Yeah. Dear Riot, I am available. Call me bro. Call me bro. Okay. On that note, though, we're not going to be doing any TFT today because we did the whole of the Demacia intro today. Yawn. But it had to be done because we got a lot of Demacia champions to get through. Remy, what are you doing? What an utter idiot nugget. Okay, on that note, my cat clearly wants feeding and it is past his dinner time. So before he claims he's wasting away and is going to die, I'm going to go and feed the cat. Thank you for joining me for this League stream. Over the next day or so, I'll put the timestamps on this stream. And remember that next week, not on Monday because I'm away on Monday, but on like Tuesday or something, probably, well, maybe Monday, but probably later in the week, the proper recordings of me reading the stories nicely will go up on my YouTube. Yeah, which was a perfectly normal way to say it. Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah. Hang on, guys. We're having a bit of an issue here. We're having a cat-based issue. Look at this. She's spying on her brother. She's watching him. She's like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, dude. Apparently my cats talk like stoners from 90s movies. I don't know. It just, look, I don't make the rules. Okay. That's just how my cats speak English. They're not even English. They're not even English. That's how shocking that is to say. English. Okay, I was gonna drop you into someone's stream, but I think he's shirtless. Can I drop you guys into a shirtless stream? Is that weird? I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do. No, I'll tell you what, I won't drop you into the shirtless stream. I'll drop you into a stream with a shirt on. I'm just that kind to you all. Okay? You should all be really grateful that I did not drop you into random shirtless stream. Or maybe you can all be angry at me for not dropping you into random shirtless stream. Maybe that's what you wanted. If so, tell me next time, and next time I'll drop you into random shirtless stream. All right, guys, have a good night. Enjoy.